Thank you. Wow, what an introduction. I don't know whether I can live up to that. I don't think I can, but I'll do my best. So yeah, just like how you were talking about, just the power, like look at this amazing piece of art that Aaron has created for this. Thank you. I'm very appreciative of the time and the effort that you put into the cover as well. Um, so this pamphlet is part of a larger sort of narrative. It's the introduction of this thing called Shisha poetics into the world and into the art space, into the poetry space. So it's a sort of a poetics that sort of moves and migrates between poetry and art form, and it's a sort of like like through through the lens of shisha. But in this particular pamphlet, we're sort of like looking at the observation through the concept of a jinn in a way, and it's these smokeless, lifeless creatures that sort of existed before. It's a primordial thing where genies come from. Anyways, so the first poem I will read is the first poem. It's called "Let Us Sing Without Voices." So in Bangladesh, we have these huge cyclonic rains called Kal Boishakhi. They're quite a sight to behold, and I feel that they are just mesmeric in the way that they appear for 5 minutes and then disappear altogether. So let us sing without voices. When the tune settles in bereavement with scalps, hide the split fragmentation in sense, settling interludes to pasture. Find voice, its shadow is heavy and malnourished, but still among the living, inhaling a salary of smoke. When the voice finds itself again, sing of the rapture, that myna bird that heralds the confluence of sedimentary and vestal rain, descend the octave, doldrum stares, perplexing sin to laborious astronomy. Let monsoon scribe its intent to ink vestiges of pomegranate-seeded songs, crying the wave of diminishing voices. The Kal Boishakhi rain masks no restraint and foliages to sing without voice. Instead of moving on from there, this poem is called "Let Us Begin." Let us begin again. Let us be jinn again in that primordial amniotic we never were. When we were given breath, our bodies were already colored by fractal light, but we could not see the separation by dust we conformed into. Let us think for a while. The us as separating thread, the us only available with mirrors, and the yous that existed but could no longer weigh the infinity of its own, and so redacted itself as smoke. Will we begin again as conquest? Will we begin again as suffering no longer in the conquest of that cyclical bog adorning us? Let me build a mosque and occupy this sensatelessness, encroaching the solitude with distant fields. Let us begin again. Embryonic or static? What space does smoke occupy? So just moving on from there. So one of the things I love doing is sort of incorporating, like this sort of this drift of language between, like between my native tongue of Bengali and English, which is the language which I write my poetry in. And yes, and I'm a big fan of puns as well. So the word char in Bengali means four, but bichar means to search, to question. So within that sort of weighing of multipleness, this poem sort of came into question as the fourth poem within this collection. Let us bichar. Let infinity loop in eighths till it falls on its own weight, horizontal. Its proxy slants comes before the sequence. Let us search its ellipses, take char for fidget spins till colors swallow a dervish dancing into their own nuff. Create space as much as a division. Let us imagine. Yeah, so moving on from there, I will go to the poem called Let Us. Retire now the genome of gold, calligraphy of stolen suspension, and let the periphery translate smoke. The periphery is sodded on. The periphery is an ensemble cast of another. Can you let us in? Here, remember the lines. What for? Let us relive the outline of static. Forget the token anomalies of script. There is always the next breath to look forward to, leaning against, coughing the dry cough off, distill the roaming air. Retire in supplication, washed hands, watched time, peace unsatiated, rest, be still now, roaming air, greet the transient, scrapping tomorrows. And so you sort of move on to two more poems that I'll read. And this is called Let Us Break. And this was a sort of more of written is a more sort of a prose poem, but sort of the lines are broken off within the thing itself. Letters break away in fumes, bask incongruity, and the silted fingers still replenish, still nest, stubborn as waiting air, watered supplication, threads plastered over, unbecoming of, to becoming home, to find the drifting smoke lodged, and heavy rest now, break, pause the passageways, our ebb, rupture the stars with skin and smoke. Dim the humming minor bird nurtures the advent of I may bespoke the sweltered canvas and let the reprieve drip insensate. Let us break our fast this evening, turn the cold water our vapored lungs, script the periphery, prosper us in golden Rome and haze. And as the sort of the solubility of the so a large part of the Shisha poetics is sort of moving into this concept of smoke and the drift of smoke, and sort of it's a move on migration, and it's a question on the body. And in this particular pamphlet, I'm trying to there's a lot of movement between solidity into the and moving sort of away, drifting into sort of the way that smoke sort of starts from being coagulated to sort of drifting apart. So it starts off thing and then sort of moves more into a narrative of more of a play, more of a more of a theatrical sort of outburst or an exit in a way. And so this poem is called Let Us In. The smoke too quick to curates its scurried transience. Across the boundless lines roam, make peace, and follow the line of A. Adam, peace be upon him. The world mad flesh, electric, of new smokeless flesh, a new sizzle between truth and a silent S. Observe the unclaimed passages of song and be in silence. I do not understand this verse. Read. The cast is silent, the cast observes, an erased silence is cast upon the edge of the word. Let us find voice and skin and hide, already hidden. Let us see, quest, air. Is it not the same? Let us profit. There is no profit among us. Let us exit within parentheses. Let us positions crying. Let us infinite charred. Let us not be deceived. Let us drift as in smoke back. Thank you.